I was asked to do a little video on some notes about Alpine windows. As you can see, there's still a little bit of snow kicking around, and so the video about the bonnet props might have to wait a couple of days until I get that cleared off, because I can't be bothered doing it. So this is actually a 90, the Alpine windows in, and if you're going to retrofit these, it's really important as to where you're going to fit them, because you've always got to think of where the headlining is going to be if you're going to put them in. So if you put the window too far forwards, the headlining is going to overlap with the glass. That's a problem. So in this video I'm going to take some measurements off this window and show you how they fit. But also, whilst I'm outside, I just want to show you something interesting, is that where the seal is here, the gap is always at the bottom where it's joined. I like to put them in the middle so it looks nice. And then this gap, this joint here for the filler strip, is a long way away from that joint there, if you see what I mean. You know, if you can see that. I can't see the screen today, it's too sunny. I usually like to put the joints opposite, so the filler strip goes in the top and the actual the joint for the seal goes in the bottom. Now usually I would have taken a window out to show you how to fit them, but honestly, if it's not leaking, don't touch it. So I don't need to do this, but I'm going to go in the shop and we're going to lay some bits and pieces out that might be of interest. So now we've come inside, and I want to show you what I use to retrofit Alpine windows. I cut these out of a crashed 110 roof. The guy went into an underground car parking and didn't anticipate the vehicle was so long that it would hit, and when he went on the up ramp, so the roof was smashed. But I managed to salvage these parts, and I also managed to salvage the aperture for the sunroof. So now I've got some great templates, so these never go wrong. However, you can go wrong by fitting them in the wrong place. And as I mentioned outside, if you're a little bit over, like say for example like this, your headlining is going to show through the window, and it's all going to be out of line. That's not good. So what I've done with my templates, this is the left one, and the other one naturally is the right one. But this is a factory edge here. The factory edge is just on here. So what that means is, on the 110, it's 120 millimeters from the edge of the hole to the factory edge of the sunroof. On the 90, it's a little bit different. It's 160 millimeters from the edge to the edge of the aperture hole. So you've got to get that right, all right? So the other thing, which is a mission critical measurement, is it's 25 millimeters from the guttering to the bottom edge of the aperture. That's on left or right, 90 or 110, it doesn't matter. The distance from the bottom to the top, not including the curve, this is straight from the top to the bottom, is 128 millimeters. Alright, so that's a little bit different. It's not a good measurement, but, well, it is a good measurement, but it's not taking into account the curve. So if I'm suggesting you to, when you do these, cut the holes a little bit smaller and then open them out, because you've only got one shot of this, and if you make a mess of it, it's curtains. Now what I want to show to you is why you haven't got much leeway in this. You can see here where I took off the old sunroof, the old Alpine windows, where the seal actually goes. So you've not got much in there, about what, 8 millimeters, not much. And so if you cut this too wide, what will happen is that the top will sag down, the seal will sag down, and water will get in from here and get inside this internal guttering here and drip down at the front of the car, and you will think the door seals are leaking, whereas actually it's these that's leaking. So it really is critical how to measure them. Now, because these are 128 millimeters, top to bottom. What you can do is you could actually make a paper template, and to get the round piece, obviously it's going to be what, 64 millimeters. So coming from this end here, 64 millimeters, and with a pair of compasses, just make a round. Do it on a piece of paper. Make a template of this, and the next thing I'm going to show you is the length of these windows. The length of the window the end, should I say, the length of the aperture is 860 millimeters. All right, it's 860 millimeters from that end to that end. Like I say, if you're retrofitting these, you've got to get them right first time. So like I say, cut the hole a little bit smaller, you should be okay. It's easier to take a little bit more out than put a bit more in, believe me, because you're stuck. Now, as we saw on the 90 outside, I see the seals are in two pieces. You've got, this is the seal itself here, and this is the filler strip. And the idea is that when you put the filler strip in, this is where you put, I think they're about the same. No, this one's a bit thicker than this one. The thin side goes towards in your metal, all right? The thick side goes into the glass. Just be aware of that, because a lot of people get stuck by that and they can't get in. So I'll do a little bit of a zoom up there and you can see what I mean. See the two different thicknesses? Just be aware of that. So what happens with the filler strip is, when you put the filler in, it will open this up and tighten and clinch the glass and the panel together, and it shouldn't leak. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like taking windows out and putting them back in again, because you've always got to put a new seal in. Now, while I've got them in my hands, I just want to point out something to you very important. It's very thin. It's a very thin rib just on here. It is so easy to cut with a screwdriver or some tool, that when you're trying to put the filler strip in or trying to put the glass in. So what I do, whenever I put a pair of Alpine windows in, I get 4 seals. That's right, 4 seals. They're only cheap. These never go wrong. These filler strips never go wrong. But these things break. Because if you're struggling, and especially when you're getting around that tight bend like this, you can actually cut the rubber and then it's kaput, finished. So what tools do you need to put them in with? Well, I did mention a screwdriver, but they're not really advisable. I've had this thing here for years. It came as a little kit. It's a proper tool for putting windows in. So this bit, see, the funniest thing is I haven't got a glass, but I will put a window in later this year when I get some jobs coming in. I'll get some windows and we'll put them in, and I'll show you exactly. But this is just a few notes. So what you're going to do with this is, you're going to get this piece in at the bottom. That's going to be in your metal work, and this bit is going to be in the top, and you're going to have to pull that down. You see how this is a really nice tool for pulling that lip over, and you can put it in all sorts of different positions, if you see what I mean. You see, like that, look. Can you see? You can push that in like that. This is easier to show you here than it is on the window. That's why I'm doing it now. This comes as a kit, and I'll put a link below in the description where you get these from. I've seen them in the UK, and you get a kit, and it comes with all different fittings on the end, but I've lost them. I don't know where they are. Man, I must have had them 25 years. So you can always make a tool to put the filler strip in, and all I do is use old broken screwdrivers, and I just welded a piece of metal on there because I knew what the shape should be. And the same goes for this one. You could get an old screwdriver and bend it to that shape. So I'll just show you what it should look like. See there? It's a funny little thing. It's got a few little kinks in. But again, you can buy them in the UK. I think it's Gunson that sells them. But anyway, it's in the link. And they're about a tenner, £12 for a full set. So quite a good investment, because like I say, I've had that for donkey's years and it served me very well indeed. So when you've got your glass in, the next thing you need to do is put the filler strip in. Now this is a bit tricky. See, when you put anything to do with rubber, you need some soapy water, and use soapy water. Don't use oil, because that'll deteriorate the rubber in the long term. I have in the past used WD-40 because it evaporates like crazy, but soapy water is usually the best. All right. So what you're going to do, you're going to put your glass in using this tool here. Plenty of lubrication in this top slot. Don't go wrong there. But when you come to put the filler strip in, this is how this tool works. So you're going to get some lubrication on there. You're going to take your tool and you're going to pass the rubber through the tool. So it's kind of tricky. See, it's tricky to do here. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it like this, look. So what your tool does is open up the rubber and you tip it. And when you push this rubber in, that's another one of them jobs. It's very easy to see, to say. Hang on, I'll put it the right way around and then you'll be... I'll put it the right way around, then you'll be able to see it. So you push that in, like that. And as you go along, keep feeding it through, feeding it through. Can you see how it's going? Kind of easy. I'll do a bit more. And what that's doing is, it's locking that filler strip in, and it's pushing. See how it's pushed those two across? It's really important. You're going to have a hell of a struggle going round these corners. You think it's never going to go in. Be patient. Patience is a virtue on this job. So just be careful. Make sure there's no sharp edges. Make sure they're all nicely sanded down. There's nothing going to cut. You don't need sealer. All right? Remember that. You don't need sealer. The other thing is, I told you outside, you finish off with a butt joint at the bottom. Here. Not at the top, because water can get in through the joint. I like to finish the filler strip at the top. Butt joint at the top. You see what I mean? Now, these seals, they're only cheap. I must admit, they're only cheap seals. But these seals are actually longer than the window that you're going to fit them to. So what you've got to do is carefully cut them just before you finish. All right? And the little technique that I use is I cut them just a little bit longer than the overlap, and then push them back and push them back, and then they'll butt together really tight. All right? It's easier to do that, and you'll get really frustrated. I must admit, you'll get frustrated, because what happens is, I don't know if you've got it in the rest of the world, but in Canada we've got gravity. I think it's the only thing we've got for free. What you'll find out is the seal will try and naturally drop out of the top. That's a terrible thing to keep going, and there's no easy way. But once you get the whole seal in, it does start to hold itself into place. Like I say, this is a very difficult description. I haven't got all the parts, but somebody asked me a few tips and tricks how to do it. When you put the window, so you've got your seal in now, and what you're going to do now is fit the glass. And you fit the glass, what I do is I tip the glass in so it goes tight into one corner, and then progressively drop it in to the window, into the frame as you're going along, and work your way along by hooking this seal over the top. It will go in, it will go in, but it's frightening, and that's why I say get more seals than you need, because if you cut them, you know, you're going to do it on a Sunday afternoon, and you can't get another seal, and you need your car for Monday. you're going to have tears. So sometimes it's best to get too many and then take them back, you know, like in an unopened packet if you can. So that's about it. I hope you like that. I will do, like I said before, I will do a video putting one of these in, I promise you, but just a few little tips and tricks how to do it. But again, I can't emphasize enough to cut that hole just a little bit smaller. So if you will see, if you run this video backwards and forwards, you'll see the measurements. That's why I wrote them on the top of here, so that if you want to pull this video back and see the measurements, 860, 128, 25 millimeter, 160 for a 90, 220 for a 110, you'll be fine. But like I said, just be careful, all right? Retrofitting these, just before I finish, is more trickier than actually putting them in, resealing them if they've already got the factory holes in. They can be a lot easier. If you're really struggling, I keep thinking of things as I'm going along. If you're really struggling putting this seal into the metal at the top and it keeps, where have you gone? If it keeps falling out and it keeps dropping out, a little bit of contact adhesive. Just put some contact adhesive all the way across the top of here and it'll stop it falling. That's the thing that we use as a last resort, but sometimes it's easier if you've got your mate round, if you can sober him up on a Sunday morning, but 2 hands are better than, well, 4 hands are better than 2 on this job, but you can do it on your own. I've fitted hundreds of them, but I've also cut quite a few of these. So if you like this video, you know the score. Subscribe. What else do you have to do? Oh yes, you have to like and subscribe, that's the thing. So we'll catch you later. I've got some more exciting videos coming up this year. It's springtime. We've got an awful lot to do. We're getting a lot of things done. Yeah, it's going to be good this year. So subscribe so you don't miss anything. Talk to you later.